Hello, public. We're going to start here. I'm going to shuffle one more time since we have actually turned on here now. And so I'd like to acknowledge the fact that my personality is limited. So before I do the reading, I would like to honor my higher self and the God frequency and ask my higher self to take over and remove my personality from any personal agendas or whatever here. So, yeah. And with that, I want to say that it's a rainy day here in Paonia. It's really nice, though. I'm sure it's different in some other places, but I want to say that it's a good day, lots of nice energy in the air, and the love vibration is at a high frequency here. So I love you. I will try to incorporate each card in a loving way to what's going on with you, and hopefully it'll fit. Okay. And I think I've mentioned before that I'm a PhD in I'm a retired psychologist. And the work that I do now is shamanistically based. I work with a center in Hotchkiss, Colorado called a Shamanistic Art Center. And this medium that we're working with here in the Tarot is part of that process, because shamanism has to do with working with certain aspects of healing that is psychological, and that's why I ended up working with it. But it requires that you be doing daily esoteric study, spiritual work related to working with other dimensions and so on and so forth. And I've been doing the Kabbalah for that process. Zen Buddhism, many other systems work. It's just what you prefer. And so that's why we're doing the reading here. This is actually from the Kabbalah, the Tarot deck, but it will be shamanistically based in some degree, because we could be talking about some working with trauma work, or how to work with abandonment issues and that sort of thing, which is psychologically based and shamanistically based. So yes, I love all of you. I hope this is a very powerful reading for you, and that it will somehow help things go better in your life. Okay. First card. Anytime you get an ace or a 1 in the number system, numerology, which is one of the methods of interpretation in the tarot, the number 1 or ace is always the beginning, the starting of the cycle. 9 is completion. 9 is the completed number, or the powerful number. 1 is the beginning, though. The Ace of Wands has to do with the beginning of really powerful and beautiful ideas for manifestation. It means setting goals, setting up a system, and with intentional activity where something can manifest in your life. It can be a job, it can be a relationship. I have a good friend who works in the shamanistic area, who says all he wants is a beautiful woman to hold, and so I hope he gets that. This is a good time to dream about it, though. And so yeah, so start your a process of sparking art forms in your mind that can manifest. This is the time to do it. And if you think about it, we're coming to the end. This is December the 3rd. We're coming to the end of a year, and we're starting a new year. So this card is right in line with that. Okay, the Hierophant. I did a short prayer earlier about igniting my higher self, letting it take over this reading. The Hierophant is the higher self. It is the revealer of mysteries. And what this is saying is that you're being broadcasted, so to speak, with some powerful ideas. All you have to do is meditate or pay attention when you first lay down at night, about what you're thinking and write it down. Put it in a journal. It's time to do it. A lot of times we dream about it, we think about it, but then we forget it the next day. Write it down. This is the time to do it. Your higher self is working with you, and it's very important that you listen to the deeper, they call it the soundless sound, the deeper voice of guidance and direction. This water is good in Paonia, I just want to say that. Okay, I also said that when I first started talking, I said I worked with the Shamanistic Art Center, but the medium of this transmission comes from Willow Winggood and the School of Magic, which is a very powerful institution, I'll say, that's just beginning with a lot of people interested in the magical process of the Kabbalah, Celtic magic, and other systems. And so through this particular broadcast and the information that we'll give you about the magic school, you can get in touch with her about it. Okay, the higher self. The process of intuition is a principle of this card. I want to talk about it a little bit. Intuition is the most important thing in terms of spiritual connectivity, working with higher beings, or working with beings on this planet. I mean, I used to read Sigmund Freud, and I began to realize as I read him that I was getting this other information if I would relax and read a certain way. And when I was getting deeper insight into what he was saying with his words, I began to realize this is a process of intuition. You could be picking up me at times, or I could be picking up you. What you want to learn about intuition is who it is you're picking up. What frequency are you plugged into, okay? And that will direct you into sort of the higher information realms. Okay. The Ace of Wands is what's going on now. This is what is covering you for good or bad. And in this sense, this is good. If you go astray, though, it could feel hard or bad because your higher self may say, hey, buddy, wake up. You know, you're not doing the right thing here. And what's happening is you could get caught up in some fate issues rather than understanding your true destiny, which most of us are dealing with. And I'm not pinpointing anyone, I'm pinpointing almost everyone when I say this. We live by fate, by cultural influence, by family heritage, so on and so forth, and the work of the Kabbalah and the Tarot and shamanism is to wake up. Okay, this is beneath you, which means it's happening subconsciously, that there's some activities going on that we're not always aware of, only about 98%, but and so that we can wake up and find out at least 25% of that, it would blow us away. Okay, this is going on beneath you, and this is getting ready for action. It is the Knight of Pentacles, and it has to do with preparing yourself to do what you're intending to do, and how to do it. And the foundation for this process is patience. Go very slow. Give yourself time to realize what it is you actually want to do. Give yourself time to figure out how to do it, and give yourself time to get started on doing it and doing it patiently. And when you do this, guess what? You're plugging into your higher self. You're getting spiritual guidance. The slower you go, the more you can receive intuitive hits on, I should mow the grass today. It's wintertime here, won't do that, but that idea. Okay, so, and it also, because it's the Page of Pentacles, it has to do with money issues. Being patient with money issues. If you think, for example, you're working with a certain group or something, and you're not getting the respect that's due you because you may be doing more than the normal person would do, and some people don't understand this. Be patient with that, and let people know what you need. If you want something, let people know. Ask. And I'm kind of talking to myself there too, because I don't always ask. I just like to be taken care of, like everyone else. But asking is a good practice. We need to learn to take care of ourselves because the devil's coming up. Okay. And the devil is behind you, which means the devil has been at play in the past in certain situations. Usually the bad ones, of course. But this is one of the major cards in the tarot. And the devil is actually a little different than we understand, you see. We think that when we do something bad, that the devil made us do it. And in a sense, that can be true. But each one of these major cards, like this is the Hierophant is the Hebrew letter Vav. This is the Hebrew letter Ayin. And Ayin means eye. Visual process. How you see something. How you perceive it. Like you may think something bad is happening at work or in your family, in your relationship with your husband or wife. And you might think, well, that's bad, and the devil is at play. However, if you begin to look at what the situation closer and you begin to perceive, allow yourself to see things in a different light, like if you're perceiving it as bad, you may want to perceive it in another way and see how that feels. It's perception that counts here. The devil for one person could be the God for another person. And actually all, quote, the bad, evil things that happen that are of the devil have the spark of God in them. And so perceiving the spark is the important thing in a negative issue. Or perceiving the gold or the good, ever how you want to see it, that's the way you get past the devil. If something is negative, reverse it 180 degrees. I'm going to see it as good. When you change the way you look at things, those things change. That's the story of the devil. You turn the devil around, not the experiences that are happening, forcing them to stop the activity of the devil. Sorry about this, but I'm thirsty today. Okay. Notice that the devil has two individuals, a man and a woman standing out in front with chains around their neck connected to this partial cube, which isn't a real cube, it's only half. And what it's saying is that on the physical plane, you're getting half of what you really should be getting, so to speak. But these chains are take-offable. These individuals, the male represents self-consciousness, the female subconsciousness, are chained to this erroneous perception of the physical plane, okay? And so what that means is you want to look at how you are actually dealing with and looking at issues in your life. And other people too. If you think, oh, this person really is a bad person, must be of the devil, pay closer attention to what the person's going through and how the person's feeling. Okay, now, this is in the past, which means all of us have had issues that we were concerned about in terms of the influence of this being, the evil devil, and so what that means is we've developed patterns of identifying certain things as being of the devil, okay? You have to look much, much deeper into these things and figure out more of the details to understand what's really going on. Because when I say God is at play in everything, because God is everywhere, including the devil's word, that means you have to find that aspect of the situation. Okay. Above these cards, we have the Page of Pentacles, and this is this position represents what is coming, what's going to happen shortly in the future, maybe a month or so. Okay, and so this is about actually, the page down here is about getting in touch with what you want to do and being patient with it. The Page of Pentacles has to do with getting the resources to make it happen. Okay, and this has to do with balancing our earth energies with, we'll say, the higher frequency energies, and getting them together and applying, we'll say, like in the school of magic, I say, get together and talk about what you want to do, and then give it wings, let it fly, so to speak. Okay, so it's sort of like that. It's like, don't keep it completely on the physical plane schedule that has to work in a certain way, and that's even including money. If you give it wings, you're going to have plenty of revenue to accomplish whatever you need to accomplish. Okay, this is coming into being, we'll say, in 2 or 3 months into 2023. This is the process of, like a warrior, going after what he or she wants. This is the aspect of doing it. Not only lining up, we'll say, a plan and setting up objectives along the way, but actually the participating part of making that happen, setting it up, and if you need people to help you to do that, to expect those people to show up or go get them. Okay, and so this is about doing it, setting up the plan, ordering sort of the process, but then doing it and being able to change that ordering if you have to along the way. Because, sometimes we dream about things, and then the truth of it is it's a little different after we start doing it. And so it's about adjusting to the flow here, getting in the flow and saying, this is it. This is what I'm alive for right now, to do this. Any sabotaging that you come up with, you deal with it in a patient way, but understand that when you set your intention, you have actually incorporated a process for that to happen. You may have said, in your mind, I want this to happen. The moment you say that and you see it, it's happening. There's no difference between the physical plane and the spirit world when it comes to manifestation. Okay? In fact, if when you see something in your mind and it actually, you can see it in form, it's not as real as when you see it in your mind. Because when you see it in your mind, it's in this perfect form. The moment you form it, it's going away. If it's a house, it's deteriorating immediately. If it's a car, your carburetor is, about to go maybe. Okay, there's 4 cards over here representing the future. The layout of how things are going to flow, and we'll say this is for 2023, probably starting, 2 or 3 months in. Okay. The first card we get is the 3 of Wands. The 3 of Wands is an Aries card. Okay, and so what this means is that that if you have done this work properly, you have the merged energies of the higher self, angelic influences, and that in this Aries card and the presence of Mars, the active principle for anything. Mars is getting something done. Mars is intense activity, fire energy for accomplishing what you need to do. So what it's saying is that you are you're going to be successful. You need to keep your energy focused on you staying balanced and you working with your product or whatever in a healthy and sort of harmonious way, that you incorporate all the information that you've gotten and you actually apply it to what you want to do. This is what is taking you into the future of this process, and this could almost be a reading for Willow here, especially at this point, because what's carrying you into the future is a harmonious connection between the female it's the Three of Cups, the feminine energy, and when you talk about triplicities, the three, you're talking about power from the above. And so what this indicates, you can look at the stars or whatever, you can look at Venus, all these feminine planets, and see what they're doing, but something is going on where cooperation and very, very heavy issues can be resolved in that feminine way. So we're talking about if it's a business, it's going to be a feminine influenced business. Could be your wife, but if it is, listen. But this is a group of women together could do miracles, okay? And I say miracles because this is the school of magic. We talk about miracles around here. A miracle is something that happens outside of the laws of the physical plane, okay? Even beyond time, okay? And so at this point, if women are working together, and there are a lot of women in the school of magic working together, the possibilities are unlimited. You have universal opportunities to pull off some very beautiful things, magical things. A miracle is like magic. A miracle is, for example, we'll say God's a miracle. I say that because God is outside of our principles of form. He or she or it or whatever is formless, okay? And at the same time, it's everywhere, penetrates everything, fills all the space. It's everywhere, and yet that's why it's a miracle. Okay. Now, if someone in some of the church systems are watching this, you want to talk about this, give me a call. Okay. So the environment in the future has to do with this aspect of setting up goals, and we're thinking kind of a little bit about even like business or relationship or whatever. That the feminine energy is very important in that process. Now, this is carrying us into the future, and this is the Six of Wands, okay? And the Six of Wands has to do with...
Six of Pentacles.
Pardon me, Six of Pentacles, thanks. I'm thinking too much here. Okay, yeah, I have to restructure this now. Okay, so this has to do with... Six is always the number of beauty and mediating, bringing things together, and taking care of, like this person kind of the one in charge, taking care of the people that are working for you. This person is sort of paying them, sharing money and that sort of thing. But what it's saying is take care of the people that you're working with. And going back to this card, that is a feminine thing, like mothers and so on and so forth. This deeper caring and going a step further than you just normally would do in the business world. Helping people out in their home situation or whatever. And in this case, monetarily. And so what's carrying us into the future is this feminine, supportive process with coworkers, with family members, with individuals that are part of whatever you're doing. Okay? And so that's the catalyst for the year 2023, is working together, supporting each other, and trying to keep a harmonious and loving connection with the group. How are we doing on time?
I can't see the time. I think we're good though.
Okay, cool. Sounds about right. One more drink.
Yeah, let me get some. Are you staying warm enough, Steve?
Oh, I'm waiting. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, so the outcome here is the Justice card. And this is the Hebrew letter Lamed, which Lamed in Hebrew means Lo Amut, I shall not die. Kia Kia, but live. Okay, the Justice card, however, is about karma, dealing with karma. Now, in this sense, we're talking about karma around some goal that you may have projected that you want to accomplish, okay? Karma has to do with any way that you sabotage yourself in the process. You're working with karma. Anytime you're sabotaging or you stop yourself from doing something, there's some karmic thing going on that could have to do with even wounding, feelings of abandonment, where you're working with people and you may feel abandoned by one of them or a group of them. And so what this is saying here is the woman in the Justice card has these scales of balance. You must keep things balanced. And what I mean by this is balance in the world is if you have a negative thought about someone, you have to create the opposite. I call it working with the polarities. You project the opposite and you equilibrate, you balance out both. Okay? How do you do that? Through the sword of discernment, by being very discerning about what's going on. Okay, so when things come up that put a glitch in your potential to accomplish what you want to accomplish, we'll say in 2023, you must keep balance and harmony and love in the major arena of this experience. Okay? Okay, how do you do that? You love yourself. You love yourself, and then you love the other, even if you don't like what they did. That's the balancing process. We all make mistakes. Things can happen that may not go the way that you would like to see it go. Patience with all things. Okay, so justice is harmony and balance. Even right and wrong. We think justice is doing the right thing, but the truth is you actually have to equilibrate the wrong with the right. Where there's hate, there has to be love. Where there's love, there has to be hate. Hate is nothing more than a densified love. Okay? Okay, so there are going to be some ideas, some great ideas coming up for people to activate and work with in 2023, and there's going to be a very strong feminine influence. There's going to be some influences from the past where things didn't work out the way that you may have wanted them to, and that comes up in the justice card, where you have to keep balance and harmony in your goals. Okay. If you have any questions, call Willow. She'll answer them. But actually, you can get the information to her. She can get the information to me, or whatever.
Yeah.
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 And we can go from there with it. Okay, so if this information fits, great. If it doesn't, maybe the reading wasn't for you. But I try to make it as general as I can, and I send it out with love and strong vibrations for everyone to come together, work together, and accomplish what we need to accomplish in 2023. I love you. See you next week.